The twin suns burned above the busy marketplace of Valara Prime. Traders from many worlds filled the wide streets, selling everything from glowing crystals to robotic pets. Jason moved carefully through the crowd, amazed by the strange foods, colorful creatures, and loud voices speaking in different languages. He had seen many markets on alien worlds, but this one felt different. There was tension in the air. As Jason walked past a group of tall insectoid merchants, he noticed a small gathering ahead. People were whispering, pointing toward the center of the square. Curious, he stepped closer. In the middle of the circle stood a tall alien woman. She had soft, pale blue purplish skin that shimmered slightly under the suns. Her long silver hair fell gently over her shoulders, and her large, bright eyes scanned the crowd. Her ears were small and elf-like, adding a gentle grace to her appearance. She wore a long teal dress that flowed like water with every movement. Jason felt her eyes land on him. For a moment, everything else faded. The noise, the crowd, the heat all disappeared. Only her gaze remained, strong and focused. She stared at him as if she had been searching for him her whole life. Before Jason could react, a local trader standing next to him whispered, "You see her? That's Liara, the last fertile female of her kind." Jason blinked. "The last?" "Yes," the trader said in a low voice. "The Valari species is dying. They lost the ability to reproduce generations ago. She is the only one left who can continue their line. Many powerful groups want her for power, for control. She is not safe." Jason's stomach tightened. He had heard many strange stories in the galaxy, but this one felt different. Before he could ask more, the trader walked away quickly, as if afraid to be seen talking about her. Jason looked back at Liara. Strangely, she was now walking toward him. The crowd stepped aside, watching in silence. Her steps were calm, almost gentle, but her eyes never left his. When she stopped in front of him, Jason felt the weight of her presence. Up close, she was even more beautiful, but also more mysterious. She spoke softly, her voice smooth like a quiet breeze. You are human." Jason nodded, unsure what to say. "Yes, my name is Jason." For a moment, she studied him. "You are different," Jason tried to smile. "That's what many people say about humans." Liara's eyes softened. "Your kind, your DNA. It is unlike any other. We have studied your species. You have survived things no one thought possible, adapted where others failed." Jason could feel the stares of others around them. It was clear many were listening, even pretending not to. "Why are you talking to me?" Jason asked carefully. She looked slightly nervous, but continued, "Because I need your help, Jason." He frowned. "Why me? I don't even know you." "Because I have no one else to trust," she said, "and I believe you may be able to save my people." Jason's mind raced. This was not the kind of conversation he had expected when he arrived on this planet. "I don't understand. Save your people? How?" Before she could answer, Jason noticed a group of dark-armored figures approaching from across the square. Their sharp helmets and long weapons made it clear they were hunters. They weren't here to shop. Liara saw them too. "They found me." Jason didn't hesitate. His instincts kicked in. "Come on, this way." He grabbed her hand and led her quickly through the crowd. The marketplace shifted as people moved aside, sensing danger. The hunters tried to follow, but the crowd slowed them down for a moment. Jason pulled Liara into a narrow alley between two tall stone buildings. They moved quickly, twisting through smaller streets and hidden paths. Jason had learned long ago that knowing the back ways of any city could save your life. After a few minutes, they reached a small storage area behind an old cargo shop. Jason peeked out carefully to make sure they weren't being followed. Liara caught her breath. "Thank you." Jason looked at her, still confused. "You need to tell me what's going on." She nodded. "I will explain everything. But first, we must stay hidden. They will not stop until they find me." Jason's heart pounded, but he managed to stay calm. "All right. We hide first, then you tell me everything." For the first time, Liara smiled gently. "You are brave. I was right to approach you." As they crouched in the shadows, the sounds of searching soldiers echoed in the distance. Jason realized that his quiet trip had just turned into something much bigger. Something that might change not only his life but perhaps the fate of an entire species. Jason and Liara stayed hidden in the small storage area behind the cargo shop. The air was cool and quiet compared to the noise outside. Jason watched the narrow street, waiting for any sign of the hunters. Liara sat beside him, her hands folded in her lap, eyes distant but steady. After a few minutes, she spoke softly. "I must tell you the truth. Jason, my people, the Valari are dying." Jason looked at her carefully. "I already know that." "But why? What happened?" Lyra's voice was sad. "Our world was once strong. We lived in peace for many centuries. But then war came. It lasted for many years. We fought not only with other species but also among ourselves. Our population dropped. More than that, our ability to have children was lost." Jason frowned. "How does a species lose its ability to have children?" She took a deep breath. "Our genetics became weak. Our bodies stopped producing fertile offspring. The few females born now cannot have babies. I am the last fertile female. If I die, our people will disappear forever." Jason's heart ached. He had heard stories of species going extinct, but this felt real and urgent. Lyra's eyes locked on his. "I have searched for hope. And I believe humans are the key." Jason was confused. "Why humans? What can we do?" Lyra's voice was steady but urgent. "Your DNA is strong. Humans have survived countless dangers, diseases, wars, harsh environments. You adapt better than any species we know. Scientists among my people studied you. They found that human genes could help us rebuild our lost fertility." Jason nodded slowly. "You want me to help you have children?" She hesitated. "More than that. I need you to protect me while we find a way to save my species. There are many who want to capture me. If I fall into their hands, they will use me for their own power." Jason's mind raced. "Who wants to capture you?" She looked around nervously. "Many groups. Criminal syndicates, rival governments, even some within the Galactic Council. They all want to control the last Valari child." Jason's eyes darkened. "That's terrible, but why come to me?" "I'm just one human," Liara smiled faintly. "Because you are different. You did not turn away from me when others did. You did not treat me like a prize or a weapon. You see me as a person. That is rare in the galaxy." Jason felt a warmth inside. "I don't know if I'm the hero you need, but I won't leave you alone." She reached out and took his hand gently. "Together we can find a way." Suddenly, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed nearby. Jason's eyes darted to the door. "The hunters are close," Liara whispered. Jason stood and peered outside the small room. He could see dark figures moving through the street, their weapons ready. "We need to move," Jason said. "Do you know a safe place?" Liara nodded. "There is an old rebel outpost outside the city. They owe my family a favor. We can hide there, but the journey will be dangerous." Jason helped Liara stand. "Then we don't have time to waste." They slipped out of the storage room and into the maze of narrow streets. The city was alive with noise, but their footsteps were careful and quiet. Jason kept alert, watching for any sign of pursuit. Liara moved with grace, but tiredness showed in her eyes. After 20 minutes of running, they reached the edge of the city, where buildings gave way to rocky hills and wild plants. Jason looked back. "Are we still being followed?" Liara shook her head. "For now, no, but they will not give up easily." Jason sighed. "Good thing I'm not an easy target," Liara smiled. "That is why I chose you." They began climbing the steep hill toward the rebel outpost. The wind was cool and smelled of pine and earth. For a moment, the danger felt far away. As they reached the top, Jason saw the small compound. It was surrounded by old walls made of metal scraps and stones. Guards stood watch, armed but friendly. Liara approached the gate and spoke to the leader, a tall woman with short hair and sharp eyes. After a tense moment, the gate opened and Jason and Liara entered. Inside, the outpost was simple but clean. People moved quickly but not with panic. Jason felt a strange sense of hope here. The leader, named Mara, greeted them. "Liara, it has been a long time. You are safe here." Liara bowed her head slightly. Thank you, Mara. Jason watched as the two women spoke quietly. Then Mara looked at him. You brought her here. You are brave, human. Jason shrugged. I just did what felt right, Mara smiled. That is rare in these times. You will find few allies in the galaxy, but here you are welcome. For the first time since meeting Liara, Jason felt a small smile appear on his face. Maybe this strange journey was not so impossible after all. Later, in a small room, Liara explained more about her people. The Villari were once great explorers. We studied the stars and made peace with many species. But greed and fear led to war. Our numbers dwindled. Now only I can carry our future. Jason listened carefully. And you believe humans can help fix this? Liara nodded. If we can combine our strengths, your resilience, and our knowledge, we might find a way. Jason looked out the small window at the distant stars. Then we start now. As they prepared to face the challenges ahead, Jason realized this was more than just saving a species. It was about hope, trust, and the power of two very different beings working together to change the fate of the universe. Jason and Liara stayed at the rebel outpost for a few days. The place was small but strong. Rebels and outcasts lived there, always ready to fight for a cause. Jason learned how to use some new weapons and gadgets while Liara rested and gathered strength, but the danger did not stop. The hunters who wanted Liara kept searching. They sent scouts and spies everywhere. Jason knew it was only a matter of time before they found the outpost. One night, while the twin suns had set and the stars shone bright, Jason was watching the sky from a small hill near the camp. Suddenly, he saw lights moving fast in the distance. Ships coming toward them. Hunters, Jason said, his voice calm but firm. Liara joined him, her face serious. We must leave. Now, inside the outpost, the rebels scrambled to prepare. Jason packed supplies, weapons, and whatever he thought might help on the dangerous journey ahead. Liara helped by sharing maps and knowledge of the nearby lands. Jason looked at her. Do you know where we can go that they won't find us? Liara nodded. There is a hidden valley beyond the mountains. Few have ever reached it. It is a good place to hide, at least for a while, Jason smiled. Then that's where we're going. Before dawn, Jason, Liara, and a few rebels left the outpost quietly. The ground was soft under their feet, and the air was fresh. But their hearts beat fast, knowing they were running from deadly enemies as they crossed rocky hills and thick forests. Jason noticed how different Liara was from any alien he had met. She was calm but alert, strong but gentle. Her eyes sometimes showed sadness but also hope. During one rest, Jason asked, What is your world like? Before all this war, Liara smiled softly. Valara was beautiful, vast oceans, tall forests, skies full of stars. We lived in harmony with nature. We had festivals to celebrate life and peace, Jason nodded. Sounds like a good place. It was, Liara said, but our pride and anger destroyed it. That is why I must survive, to make sure my people can have a future. Jason felt respect for her growing. I want to help you, no matter what. Liara looked at him with something like warmth. And I trust you. That is rare for my kind. Suddenly, the silence was broken by the sound of engines, low and fast. Jason's eyes narrowed. They found us. From the forest edge, several small ships appeared. The hunters were closer than expected. Jason quickly shouted, Run! Head for the valley! The group sprinted through the trees, pushing their tired bodies. The ships fired bright beams of light, trying to trap them. Liara ran beside Jason, her breath fast but steady. We must not let them catch us. Jason knew they were outnumbered and outgunned. But he also knew that humans had something many others did not, the will to survive against all odds. They reached a cliff edge. Below was a deep valley covered in thick fog and tall trees. It looked like the perfect place to hide. Jason found a narrow path down the cliff and started climbing. Liara followed, her hands gripping rocks with surprising strength. Just as the hunter ships hovered above, the group disappeared into the fog. The ships circled, searching, but could not see through the thick mist. Jason took a deep breath. We lost them. For now, Liara smiled weakly. Thank you, Jason. You saved my life. Jason wiped sweat from his forehead. We saved each other. As they moved deeper into the valley, Jason and Liara felt a strange peace. The valley was quiet, full of green and life. Birds sang softly, and the air smelled fresh, but danger still lurked beyond the hills. That night, as they sat near a small fire, Liara looked at Jason. Why do humans keep fighting even when the odds are against them? Jason thought for a moment. Because hope is stronger than fear. Because we believe the future can be better, Liara nodded slowly. I want to believe that too. Jason smiled. You already do. The days that followed were hard. Jason and Liara moved carefully, avoiding roads and cities. They learned to trust each other more. Jason taught Liara about human survival skills, how to find food, build shelter, and stay hidden. Liara shared knowledge of alien technology and ancient history. Together, they became a strong team. One afternoon, while exploring a cave in the valley, they found strange symbols on the walls. Lyra's eyes lit up. These markings are from my ancestors, she said. They speak of a place where our people began, a place with powerful knowledge. Jason was curious. Maybe that place can help us. Liara nodded. If we can find it, we might have a chance. But just as hope grew, Jason noticed movement in the trees. Shadows watching them silently. He whispered, We're not alone. Lyra's hand found his. They're coming. The valley, once a safe haven, was about to become a battlefield. Jason tightened his grip on his weapon. We'll fight, together. The shadows moved closer in the valley as Jason and Liara prepared for what was coming. They were not alone. The hunters who chased them had found their hiding place, but Jason was not afraid. He had learned to face danger with courage. Liara, too, showed strength beyond what many expected. Jason, Liara said softly, we cannot fight them forever. We need allies. Jason nodded. I know. But who can we trust? The galaxy is full of enemies. Liara looked toward the distant hills. There is one group, the Human Federation. They have strong rules and protect those in danger. If we can reach them, they will help us. Jason smiled. Then that's where we're going. The next morning, Jason and Liara left the valley. They moved carefully, avoiding roads and towns. The journey was long and hard. Liara often asked questions about humans, their culture, their history, their values. Jason answered with honesty, telling stories of human kindness and human mistakes. At night, by their small campfires, they shared their hopes and fears. Liara admitted she had never trusted anyone so deeply. Jason confessed that meeting her changed. How he saw the galaxy not as a place of danger, but a place of hope. After several days, they reached a small spaceport on the edge of a quiet planet. Jason contacted the Federation by sending a coded message. The wait for a reply was tense. Finally, a Federation ship arrived. Its sleek silver hull gleamed under the planet's suns. Soldiers in clean uniforms stepped out, weapons lowered but ready. The leader, a tall man with kind eyes, greeted Jason and Liara. We received your message. You are safe now, he said. Firmly, Liara bowed slightly. Thank you. Your help means everything to me. Jason watched as the Federation soldiers set up a secure camp around them. For the first time in weeks, he felt a sense of safety, but trust was not easy. Liara still held back some of her feelings. Her species was logical and cautious, and years of betrayal made her careful. One evening, Jason found her alone near the campfire, staring at the stars. Liara, he said gently, you don't have to carry this burden alone. I'm here. She looked at him, eyes shining with emotion. I fear trusting humans. So much has happened. But with you, it feels different. Jason reached out and took her hand. We'll face everything together. Their bond grew stronger. Liara began to open up, sharing stories of her people's past and dreams for the future. The Federation scientists arrived next day. They examined Liara carefully but with respect. They spoke of new technologies, genetic research, and possibilities. Jason listened with hope. Maybe, with science and trust, they could save the Volari. But not everyone in the galaxy agreed. While the Federation provided protection, rumors spread among powerful groups. They did not want the Villari to survive. Some saw Liara as a prize, others as a threat. One night, Jason overheard a secret meeting. A shadowy figure warned, "If the Federation supports her, we lose control. We must act before it's too late." Jason's heart sank. The danger was far from over, he told Liara. "We have allies now, but enemies too. We must be ready." Liara nodded. "I will not run again." Together they trained with the Federation soldiers. Jason improved his skills with weapons and tactics. Liara learned to control her own powers. Rare abilities from her Villari blood. During one training session, Jason saw Liara's true strength. She moved with grace and power, a warrior and a healer combined. Jason felt proud. "You're incredible," Liara smiled, "and you're the bravest human I know." One day, while walking through the camp, Liara stopped suddenly. She touched a small device in her hand and whispered, "This is a message from my homeworld." Jason looked at the screen. A warning flashed, Valara Prime under attack. "The syndicates are taking control?" Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "My people are in danger, I must return." Jason placed a hand on her shoulder. "We will go together, we'll save your home." Liara nodded, strength returning. Together. As they prepared to leave the safety of the Federation camp, Jason realized something powerful. This was no longer just a mission to save a species. It was a story of trust between two worlds, joined by hope and courage. They were ready to face whatever came next. Jason and Liara left the Federation camp, heading toward Valara Prime with hope in their hearts. They carried not just weapons and supplies, but a plan, one that could save her people and bring peace to a troubled world. But danger was closer than they thought. As they traveled through the stars aboard a sleek transport ship, Jason trusted his small group of allies. These were soldiers and scientists from the Federation, people he believed shared their goal. Liara watched the stars outside, quiet but alert, knowing their enemies were ruthless. One evening, as Jason prepared to rest, a soft knock came at his cabin door. It was Mara, a trusted officer who had helped them before. "I need to speak with you," she whispered, eyes flickering nervously. Jason nodded and let her in. "What is it?" he asked. Mara hesitated. "I don't know how to say this, but someone is working against us. Someone in the Federation." Jason's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean? I overheard a conversation. They want to capture Liara for their own use, not to protect, but to control." Jason's mind raced. "Who? Why?" Mara shook her head. "I don't know the names yet, but it is serious. We must be careful." Jason thanked her, feeling a cold fear settle in his chest. He knew the galaxy was full of secrets and lies, but this betrayal was close, too close. That night, Jason met with Liara in the ship's observation room. The stars twinkled outside, but inside, a storm brewed. "Someone we trust is working against us," Jason said quietly. Lyra's eyes darkened. "They want me to be a tool, not a person." Jason took her hands. "We will stop them, together." But the enemies were already moving. The next day, while Jason and Liara were in the ship's lab discussing their next steps, alarms blared through the corridors. Red lights flashed. The ship shook as armed soldiers stormed in. Jason drew his weapon, heart pounding. "What's happening?" A cold voice came over the intercom. "By order of the Galactic Syndicate, all passengers are under arrest." Jason looked around. Among the soldiers, he recognized some faces, allies who had turned. Liara stepped forward, her voice steady but fierce. "You will not take me," one of the soldiers sneered. "You have no choice. Your species is valuable. You will serve our masters." Jason and Liara fought side by side, using every skill they had. Jason's human determination and quick thinking kept them alive, while Liara's strange powers dazzled their attackers, but numbers were too many. They were captured and taken to a secure area deep within the ship. The air was cold, the walls metal and dark. Jason looked at Liara. "We will find a way out." She nodded, eyes burning with defiance. "I will not be a prize." Days passed in harsh captivity. Guards watched their every move. The ship moved toward a secret location where the Syndicate planned to use Lyra's fertility for their own gain. Jason and Liara talked quietly, sharing strength. "We cannot give up," Jason said. "Humans survive because we never stop trying." Liara smiled faintly. "And we Villari fight because we must." One night, when the ship's systems were busy elsewhere, Jason noticed a small ventilation shaft nearby. "Maybe we can escape through there," he whispered. Liara looked doubtful but trusted him. "We try." With careful movements, they squeezed through the narrow space. It was dark and cold, but hope guided them. Finally, they reached a maintenance room filled with tools and spare parts. Jason quickly scanned the ship's controls. "If I can disable the security systems, we can open the main doors." Liara helped, using her knowledge of alien tech. After tense minutes, the doors unlocked. Jason and Liara moved fast through the corridors, avoiding guards. They reached the ship's hangar where escape pods waited. As alarms screamed, they jumped into a pod and launched into space. The pod's small engines fired, sending them away from the Syndicate ship. Jason breathed heavily. "We made it." Liara smiled with relief. "Together we are strong." But the galaxy was still dangerous. Their journey to save the Villari was far from over. Jason looked at Liara and said, "No matter what, I won't let you face this alone." Liara squeezed his hand. "And I won't give up on us." The small escape pod drifted silently through the vast darkness of space. Jason and Liara sat close, their faces lit by the faint glow of the pod's control panel. Though they were free from the Syndicate ship, danger still lingered. They both knew their fight was far from over. Jason broke the silence first. "We need to find a safe place, somewhere they won't find us." Liara nodded. "There is a nearby system with a hidden planet. Few know about it. It's where some of my people once hid during the wars." Jason smiled. "Then that's our next stop?" Using the pod's limited navigation system, Jason plotted a course. The pod's engines hummed softly as they moved toward the unknown planet. As they traveled, Liara shared stories of her ancestors, warriors, scholars, and healers, who once protected the Villari from many threats. Jason listened, amazed by her strength and history. Suddenly, the pod's alarms blared. Jason's eyes shot to the screen. "We're being tracked." Lyra's voice was calm but firm. "They found us." Jason pushed buttons, trying to shake the signal. But the trackers were advanced. "We have to act fast," Jason said. Just then, a large ship appeared on their sensors. The Syndicate had found them again. The enemy ship moved closer, preparing to capture the pod. Jason gritted his teeth. "Hold on, Liara." He activated the pod's emergency systems. Lights flashed as the pod sped toward the hidden planet. The Syndicate ship fired a beam. The pod shook violently but held together. Jason's heart pounded. Almost there. The pod entered the planet's atmosphere, shaking as it passed through thick clouds. Below, dense forests and high mountains stretched far and wide. Jason skillfully guided the pod down to a hidden valley surrounded by tall trees. With a final jolt, the pod landed safely. Jason and Liara opened the hatch and stepped outside. The air was fresh and cool, filled with the scent of pine and earth. They looked around. The valley was quiet and peaceful, a perfect place to hide, but their peace was short-lived. From the trees, a group of figures appeared. They were armed but wore no hostile expressions. A tall woman with silver hair stepped forward. "Welcome, Liara." Liara's eyes widened. "You came." The woman smiled softly. "We are your kin, survivors of the Villari. We have waited for you." Jason felt a surge of hope. Finally, they had found allies. The Villari survivors took them to their secret village hidden deep in the valley. Jason was amazed by their advanced technology blended with nature. Buildings grew from living trees, and energy flowed through crystals. That night, as stars filled the sky, the Villari elders held a meeting. They spoke of their lost world and the hope Liara brought. Jason listened quietly. Though an outsider, he felt a strong connection to their cause. Suddenly, a scout burst into the meeting room. "Enemy ships detected nearby." The elders exchanged worried looks. "They have followed you here." Jason stood. "We must prepare." Liara nodded. "This valley will be our last stand." The Villari warriors trained alongside Jason, learning human tactics and fighting with fierce determination. Days passed as the enemy closed in. When the attack came, it was sudden and fierce. The syndicate ships descended, firing weapons that lit up the sky, but the Villari defenders were ready. Jason led a small group to disrupt the enemy's landing ships. Liara used her powers to shield the village, creating barriers that held back the attackers. The battle was long and hard. Jason fought with all his strength. Inspired by the courage of the Villari, in the midst of the fight, he saw the leader of the syndicate soldiers, a cold man who looked confident. Jason charged toward him. Surprising the enemy, the two clashed, weapons flashing. With a final strong strike, Jason defeated the leader, forcing the syndicate to retreat. As the enemy ships pulled back, the valley fell silent. Liara smiled, tears in her eyes. "We won," Jason looked around at the brave Villari. "This is just the beginning, but we will survive." That night, as the fires burned low, Jason and Liara stood together, looking at the stars. "I never believed I would find a home among the stars," Jason said. Liara took his hand. "And I never thought I would trust a human so much." Jason smiled. "Together we are stronger." They knew the road ahead was still long, but for the first time they had hope for the Villari, and hope for their future. The battle in the hidden valley was over, but the journey was far from finished. Jason and Liara stood together among the survivors, looking at the quiet stars above. The Villari people had won a great victory, but their future still hung in the balance. Liara spoke softly, her voice filled with hope and determination. "We cannot stay hidden forever. The galaxy is watching. We must find a way to protect my people for good." Jason nodded. "We need allies who believe in justice. The Human Federation helped before. Maybe it's time to bring them here to make sure your people have a future." The Villari elders agreed. Plans were made to send messages to trusted leaders across the stars. They hoped that peace and cooperation could replace fear and war. Jason watched as Liara worked tirelessly with her people. She was no longer just the last fertile female. She was a leader, a symbol of hope. One afternoon, Jason and Liara stood on a hill overlooking the valley. The sun cast golden light across the trees, and birds sang in the gentle breeze. Jason smiled. "You've changed so much since we met," Liara returned the smile. "So have you. You showed me courage and kindness when I needed it most." Jason took her hand. "You saved me too." As the days passed, Federation ships arrived. Scientists and diplomats came to the valley, offering help and protection. Together with the Villari, they began working on a plan to restore the species safely and fairly. Jason watched as Liara met with leaders and researchers. She spoke with passion, her voice strong and clear. One evening, as the stars shone bright, Jason and Liara sat by a quiet river. The water flowed gently, reflecting the sky. Liara looked at Jason, her eyes soft. "I never thought I would find peace until I found you," Jason smiled. "And I never thought I would find a purpose like this." They sat in silence, feeling the calm of the moment. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time it felt possible. Months passed. The Villari began to heal. New lives were born, protected by science and love. Jason stayed by Lyra's side, proud to be part of something greater than himself. The galaxy slowly took notice. Stories of hope and bravery spread across worlds. Humans and Villari stood together, showing what could happen when different species chose trust over fear. One day, as Jason and Liara walked through the valley, a young Villari child ran toward them, laughing. Liara knelt to the child's level, her eyes shining with tears. "This is our future," she said softly. Jason looked at the child and then at Liara, "And it's a future worth fighting for." As the twin suns set over the valley, Jason and Liara stood hand in hand. The stars above seemed brighter than ever. Liara whispered, "I never believed hope could come again. But with you, it has." Jason smiled, feeling warmth in his heart. "Together, we will protect it." The last fertile female of the Villari had found more than a protector. She had found a partner, a friend, and a new beginning, and humanity had once again proven why hope Courage and kindness could change the fate of the stars.